Okay, today we're going to be talking about Donald J. Trump. He is the Republican presidential nominee for the United States of America, for those who are unaware. And how do you even start? Uh, he's a misogynist. He just says whatever comes out of his mouth, and there are a lot of people who think that that's a good thing. Um, but you know what? You know what? We're gonna just this man is all over the place, and here's just an example of some of the crazy how ridiculous this guy can be. All right. Here we go.
When China devalues its currency, they're making it impossible for our companies to compete. But China doesn't want, and I'm very close to China. I have the biggest bank in the world as a tenant of mine in New York. The biggest in the world, a Chinese bank. Don't worry about that baby. I love babies. So, I love babies. I hear that baby crying. I like it. What a baby. What a beautiful baby. Don't worry. The mom's running around like, don't worry about it, you know. It's young and beautiful and healthy, and that's what we want. Okay.
Okay, so this seems pretty good. This seems pretty good so far. Baby starts crying a little bit. You can't hear it too much. It's not that big of a deal, but he stops and he's like, "All right, it's a baby, but it's all right. Baby. It's a baby. Everyone loves babies. That makes him look like a good politician. Everyone loves babies. All right. You know what? That's awesome. He's willing to make a joke about it, kind of let it slide.
But look. China, when China devalues its currency, they take our guts out. And they do it so often. They're constantly devaluing their currency. And they always wait till like it's a bad time, like we have a problem with Iraq, we have a problem with Afghanistan.
Okay. Now this is unrelated to the baby, but I do have to mention here that what Trump is talking about shows that he has like no economic experience. He just does not understand how global economics works. So there are a number of different reasons why a currency can be devalued. One of which is, inflation, which is a natural process that happens with mint money. Basically, as you increase the amount of money per capita, the amount that money is worth decreases. So it devalues the currency. Trump is acting as though China is intentionally saying, as if Chinese currency is pegged to the dollar, and that they intentionally move that peg, on a whim, just to mess with America, which is not how currency works. And it's incredible to see that he's so mistaken over something like this, that he believes that China is intentionally saying, the Chinese yuan is worth like, 15 per dollar. We're gonna make it like 19 per dollar. That'll really fuck up America and totally won't have any impact on our own economics. And this just shows like that how just the amount of understanding here. I mean, I am 23 studying it's like, I'm 23 and I know this. Ignore the fact that I'm studying economics, and so, I've got a little bit of experience under my, but Donald Trump is supposed to be like this tycoon businessman who's like super successful, and he says that he knows how the economy works, and he knows how business works, and he knows how government works, because he's got relationships with everyone. But nope. Even just this small statement here shows how absolutely politically illiterate that he is. But anyways, continuing on.
Every time we have like a big problem, they always devalue. And a year and a half ago, they devalued the biggest devaluation they've done in 20 years. The biggest in 20 years. And I said, man, how did they get away? But we had a problem. We were doing other things. Okay.
The other reason about currency valuation is not only how much you mint, but a country's ability to pay their debts and the amount of capital that a country can produce will and how safe is a currency. That doesn't isn't necessarily related to the government. That's how the entire world sees China. That helps determine what the valuation for a currency is. I mean, Brexit, for example, they nobody Britain didn't go, you know what? Because we did this, we're going to intentionally devalue our currency. We're going to devalue the British pound. Because, you know what? Because we're separating from the EU. No, that's not what happened. What happened is that everyone was like, yeah, without the support of the EU anymore, you're gonna have like a lot of trouble financially, and so what was once a good investment, which was like the London Bank and things like that, all these solid financial institutions in the UK suddenly became a lot more unstable. Also, with the talk of places like Scotland and Ireland potentially requesting independence again, you know, there was a lot of confidence lost in the British government, and you have very similar kinds of things in China where China, for except on a much broader scale, like when China had weeks and weeks of growth. It had like this huge unprecedented growth, something like 10% over the course of like 3 or 4 months. And then they found out, oh, hey, the Chinese government was fudging the numbers about all these different aspects of the government, about their GDP growth, about how much money companies were making, how much tax revenue the Chinese government was collecting. There's all these numbers, and people are like, oh, China's not as good as they were saying they were. We should probably pull our money out. Anyways, continuing on.
Okay? So when China does that, we have to fight back. Now, here's how you fight back. Because we can't fight back any other way, we have the piggy bank. They have ripped us to shreds. Ripped us absolutely to shreds. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. That's all right. Don't worry. I think she really believed me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking. That's okay. People don't understand. That's okay.
So, the thing is that, okay. The second time, in fact, you could hardly hear the kid. But you know what's even worse? You know what's insane about this video? It's just, she thought I was serious. That I would like having a baby around. It's like, oh my god. You started off with the being on the correct political foot. Seriously, you were fine. You were fine. Just let the baby slide. Unless it gets like really really loud, which it was quieter the second time than it was the first time. Then just let it go. If you're not gonna let it go, just oh. Trump hates babies. I mean, yeah, he got interrupted a little bit by it, and but this isn't like the type of event that this is. This is a rally. This is at a rally. This isn't at a formal. Isn't like a debate or something like that. This is a rally. This is supposed to be a somewhat informal event that he's using to garner support. And how does he think that he looks in front of a bunch of his constituents, his voters, the people he wants to vote for him, when he gets upset at a lady for having a baby and basically is like, yeah, by the way, she thought I was serious when I said that I love to have babies at my rallies. Like, he just comes off as an asshole. Stop being an asshole, Trump, and maybe people will be okay with voting for you. I mean, I won't. I think that the chances of some sort of nuclear holocaust occurring are much higher under Donald Trump than under Hillary Clinton, because Trump will say something and will initiate nuclear war. Right now, he can get away with saying a lot of things because he's just a candidate. He is just a candidate, and while the world is watching and saying, ooh, man, I hope that Trump doesn't get into office, it's not like anybody's going to start a war with us over Trump being a candidate. But, but, if Trump becomes president and he says something, some of the things that he's said, I mean, there are all kinds of consequences for your actions. You have to be level headed, and you have to be careful, and you have to be diplomatic to other countries. And he just isn't. I just don't know how people. We may have to fight a defensive. Well, probably not a. I don't know. It's just more fighting. More fighting. Trump wants to take us backwards and into an era of war and authoritarianism, and he wants to bring back World War II, or the Cold War, where he wants to go back to that period of armament where everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats, where the button could be pressed at literally any moment over the slightest thing. That's the kind of situation he wants, where he can control the public with fear and, basically make himself a dictator. That's what I'm seeing. That based on everything that he's said, everything that he's done, all of his political opinions, like that's what he wants. He wants to control people, and the best way that he can find to do that is through fear. But he's also an asshole, which, I don't know. I wouldn't want to. Anyways, if you liked the video, uh, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, you know, all that cool stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.